Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening and welcome to the December 9th, 2025 study session. It is now called to order. All council members are present with the exception of Mary Ulloa and Councilmember Lucio, who both currently have excused absences. Councilmember Flores, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Yes. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, this is a time and the place for the general public to address City Council about subjects on the agenda. Do we have anybody that would like to address us? Please come forward, state your name, please, sir, for the record.
Who is that?
Fred McGillicuddy. I just like to know what you were drinking before. That was the most cheerful opening I've ever heard for any council procedure.
You think it's water in these bottles? So.
I just want to say, I think the decorations this year are just almost perfect. They're just, we got people out there right now, out there playing in them, and you see them all over, and you guys were here.
I appreciate that very much, and I know I'm probably going to open up just a Pandora's box. What would make it perfect?
Well, snow all the time, dancing girls, and a Rudolph. What else?
What would make it perfect?
No, the only thing that seemed to be a little crowded was the trees a little close to City Hall.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
guys.
comments, Stubby.
You're the ones that approved it.
Thank you. Okay. Study session tonight is going to begin. We're going to talk about proposed transfer of ground maintenance. Staff report by Jeff Benson, Parks and Facilities Manager, and Keith Martinez, Public Works Services Manager. That means you can start.
Good evening. I'm going to give a quick introduction before they start.
Sylvia Avalos, our Director of our Community Services, Parks and Recreation.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. At the July 31st, 2024 City Council Goal-Setting Workshop, staff were asked to explore transitioning grounds maintenance to the CSPR Parks and Facility Division, an idea that has been under consideration since 2021. Over the past 9 months, representatives from both CSPR and Public Works have met regularly to review the current organizational structure and identify opportunities to streamline service delivery, enhance efficiency, better align functional responsibilities, and assess budget impacts. This evening, Jeff Benson and Keith Martinez will present an overview of the proposed transition. This item is for information and feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. For consideration, we're looking to show the transition from grounds in Public Works to community services. The purpose is to improve city park services through the consolidation of programming and operational staff under one departmental umbrella, focusing on park maintenance, oversight, and usage. The anticipated effective date would be July 1st, 2026. Currently, Public Works Department serves the needs of the citizens by maintaining city-owned improvements within the public right-of-way. Of those, 2 are Streets Division and Grounds Division. The Streets Division is comprised of 5 sections: signs, asphalt, concrete, wastewater, right-of-way. 23 members are assigned currently to the Streets Division. Grounds Division is comprised of 4 sections: trees, graffiti, parks and facilities, landscaping, maintenance districts. Also, 23 staff members are assigned to grounds. The highlighted yellow will be the staff that's transitioning to CSPR if it were to take effect. Ground staff under Public Works is responsible for city-maintained parks, which includes trash removal, irrigation repairs, and playground and landscape maintenance. Janitorial services are contracted out, but staff check restrooms out twice a day and respond to calls for service if they are needed. Citywide graffiti removal. All city-maintained trees, including parks, public right-of-way, civic center, and other city facilities, are maintained. Installation and removal of special lighting for non-city sponsored Strides events, and installation and removal of banners across Central Avenue through CSP requests are just some of the few things that Grounds does currently. Continued, they also work overtime events for trash pickups such as Halloween Spectacular, Fireworks Spectacular, Christmas Parade, Cornfeed Run, Chino Movie Nights, and Chino Days, to name a few. Staff oversees contracted services such as landscape, edging, mowing within the landscape maintenance districts, public right-of-way, medians, and reservoirs. Additional contracted services include maintenance of the city's UGMO system, which is irrigation, resodding of sports fields at Ayala Park and some of our sports parks, overseeing of parks and city facilities, janitorial services for park restrooms and pavilions, maintenance of splash pads and fountains, citywide tree maintenance, and rental of holiday lighting and decor, such as brought up by Subby earlier today. Our current Public Works Services org chart. The orange is reflected as streets. The green is reflected as grounds. These are the amount of staff we have in each section with the lead and how many staff report to that lead. This will effectively change if the transition is approved. And we'll show you that in a couple slides. The city of Chino has a total of 18 city-maintained parks, totaling 216 acres, with Ayala Park being the largest at 144. Of the list you see here, the ones with asterisks are the ones that ground staff typically touch every day because they are the most widely used. The other parks that are not highlighted or have asterisks are smaller pocket parks. There's not much going on there, but maybe a couple tables and some walking paths. Out of these 14 that are highlighted in asterisks, we have 14 restroom buildings, 14 playgrounds, 13 canopies, 5 snack bars, and 14 ground staff are dedicated to these 18 locations. Landscape maintenance is also provided at 20 city facilities. 2 ground staff members are dedicated to checking these facilities under facilities landscape. As you can see, it's quite a long list for 2 individuals to oversee, but they get the job done, and they do a very good job at doing so. Vehicles and equipment that would be transitioning: 14 full-size vehicles, 1 tractor, portable walk-behind aerator, a couple of blowers, chainsaws, rototiller, things of that nature. There's other things that we haven't listed, but those are smaller mid-engine things that are a little bit cumbersome for the slide. Ground staff allocated to park maintenance. Right now, we currently have 1 public works supervisor, 3 grounds maintenance lead workers, 7 full-time grounds maintenance workers, and 6 part-time grounds maintenance workers. This would be the proposed org chart. Street supervisor would still handle most of the individuals that he does now. However, we were requesting to get a wastewater and collections operations supervisor that would oversee wastewater by itself, because that is a pretty large task for citywide services. The green that you see pictured here will remain in streets. They will not go over to community services, and they will be overseen by the street supervisor.
Good evening. So currently, what we're showing here is the proposed org chart should the transition take place. In gray is our parks and facilities maintenance staff. So this staff is what we currently have that oversee all facility projects, CIP projects, park projects, as well as the facility maintenance. So all of the parks that were listed before on the previous slide and the facilities, this staff is what oversees the maintenance and projects for all of those sites. In green is the proposed staff that would be coming over from Public Works. The 3 positions highlighted are the positions that we're requesting to add to accommodate to help manage the additional staff coming over to our division. So we put together the cost of what it would look like for the positions to come over. So part-time streets maintenance worker, a quantity of 2. We provided the the salary salary amount, CSPR, Assistant Parks and Facilities Manager. So we added all of the positions as well as what their salaries would be with the quantities, with a grand total of just under $600,000.
Jeff, these are things that would be requested, or these are things that are existing?
These are things that would be, the requested are, new positions are requested, and then the department equipment is also requested. So this is all going to be requested. So there's one-time cost, which is the equipment, and then above is the staff costs that would be ongoing. So you have the $437,000, which is the ongoing staff costs. You have the one-time equipment costs, all totaling up to just under $600,000 for new additional costs.
Do you have questions on should we go back to
You want me
the slide that shows the org chart?
So I'm sorry to like do this to you guys, but one thing we're used to looking at is org charts, right? So, we weren't, like when you showed the first one, it made it look like the positions already existed, so we were just having the great debate over here about the new cost, right? Yeah, so to these additional positions, that's what you're talking about in the next slide, right?
So the additional positions are broken up between both departments. So this slide reflects what community services would be requesting. So those three highlighted positions are what would be requested.
So these, okay, got it.
And then, do you want me to go back to the Public Works?
Yeah.
So the supervisors requested along with the 2 part-time staff.
Yeah, so that wasn't really clear, like, from the beginning, because it just made it sound like we were just reorganizing and not adding any positions until you got to the last slide. All good.
Okay. Sorry. Scope of transfer, so budget, so personnel services, so we have the full-time and part-time employee overtime salaries that would be coming over of a little over 1.5 million, maintenance and operations of 2.7 million, and then allocated costs of a little over 800,000, totaling about 5.1 million. Contracts that would be coming over, so guaranteed janitorial, that's the contractor that oversees the cleaning of the park restrooms. Green Badge, that's the UGMO system, so that is associated with the irrigation systems. Landscape West, which does our park landscape maintenance as well as the facility landscape maintenance. Southern California Landscape is the resodding for the sports fields. Bright Life Designs, that's the holiday lighting and the tree. And then Vertical Pools, which is our fountain and splash pad maintenance. So some anticipated challenges that we've met about and discussed. Additional, administrative operational capacity of facilitating the transition. Learning curve availability of shared equipment, because we won't be able to have all the equipment that's needed right off the bat. We will have to share equipment. Implementation of state regulations and mandates. So AB 1346 prohibits the sale of small gas-powered equipment. So we're having to buy, to replace the small engine-powered equipment, we need to go to battery power, but we also need infrastructure, and trucks need the infrastructure to be able to charge those batteries so that staff could perform their normal work duties. AB 2208 prohibits the sale of fluorescent lights. So just like here, you can no longer purchase fluorescent lights in the state of California, so we have to conduct retrofits to all of our facilities for LED lighting. That's going to be a significant project and an ongoing project for a while. AB 1572 prohibits the use of potable water to irrigate non-functional turf. We're making strides to do that as we can. Logistics of staff and equipment. So right now, Parks and Facilities staff report here to City Hall South, We're now looking at taking on the ground staff, which will be at the yard, so there'll be that kind of division and coordination because staff will be housed at 2 separate locations. Evaluation and implementation of operational policies, procedures, responsibilities, and contract services. We acknowledge the fact that we're not going to know everything right off the bat, and there will be a process to identify and come up with solutions to issues, and we evaluate operational capacities and procedures. So that'll be something that'll take time for us to figure out. We're not going to be able to hit the ground running right off the bat. Anticipated benefits. Enhanced alignment of operations with programming. So with programming and now basically all facility maintenance, including landscape, falling under one umbrella, it'll be more seamless communication. It'll be easier to facilitate events and things like that. Assign staff to specific locations. We're looking at assigning specific park staff and holding them accountable for specific locations so that we know who's responsible for what. Improved operational efficiency and service delivery. Again, it just goes with knowing who's doing what, where, and having it all be consolidated within one department. Streamline communication and oversight. Optimize staff resources and professional growth opportunity, because we do recognize the fact that with grounds coming on, there will be more of an opportunity for cross training between ground staff and parks and facility staff. Our implementation phases. So what we're anticipating is year 1. We're going to be assessing operational capacities, staff duties, budget, equipment, and contracts to determine additional needs. Possible operational adjustments regarding janitorial services, the assigning of crews or specific staff and staff duties, and on-site park maintenance. Year 2 to 3, looking back at what we observed through year 1, request additional staff or resources if needs are determined. Initiate equipment and tool acquisition dedicated to parks and facilities, and create deferred maintenance plan. Years 4 to 5, evaluate possible facility needs for staff workstations, vehicles, and equipment storage. So we're looking at hopefully having at least a 5-year kind of program to assess everything and figure out what we actually need to run. We're not going to just run into this blindly. We want to analyze everything to make sure we only ask for what we need. This is our proposal for fiscal year 26-27. This concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address City Council on this item?
Good evening, councilors. Thank you for the opportunity. Personally, I feel this is something that's long overdue. I supported this last time when we tried to do this. The majority of city staff keeps things running behind the scenes. Police department keeps everybody safe. But what people really relate to in the community is parks and recs. And it's a very important thing. And community services are the heart of the community for most people. The system that we have now, I could give you a million small examples. We have, for instance, we share repair costs. Dennis is sometimes out at Ayala Park digging a hole 4 foot deep trying to fix a water main, gets called away because of a street emergency. They throw plywood over the hole, put some cones on it, stays that way for 4 or 5 days. And it's not because they don't know what they're doing. It's not because they're not efficient. It's because their responsibilities are split. There's a lot of preventative maintenance, scheduled maintenance that doesn't get done. For instance, one of my pet peeves is the vinyl fence at Ayala Park, which has never been cleaned since 2008 when it was installed. And if you take a baby wipe or a wet wipe and go up and wipe at it, you'll see what I mean. You can't power wash vinyl because it pits it, it's a soft surface and it makes it stain. It's just one of the small things that gets overlooked because there is not dedicated staff there every day saying, hey, this is my place, I want it to look nice. Another thing that we don't have is consistent staff. We've had a lot of issues. A few years ago, we had a major issue with pets, dogs running loose, like at Ayala Park, right? Back then, we would call our defunct animal control system, and hey, if you catch the dog and we can make it out there between 9:30 and 4, we'll take it off your hands. And I have seen, personally seen, ladies pick up their toddlers and children and leave the park because there were loose dogs running around that no one can control. And PD comes out and does a fantastic job, but by that time, you've already set a bad example for people. The staff that we have there is intermittent. They're not always the same people, and they always have other things to do. I just think this is an excellent opportunity to, and I think this plan is very well laid out. You can't do something like this overnight. And by the way, a few of those items, the legally mandated things like the new green code stuff, really shouldn't be in here because that's going to happen anyway. No matter what, it's going to happen. It's like these lovely lighting systems that we have here. So I encourage you to authorize this, to get it in the works by staff having it contemplated and doing it in steps. You'll have the opportunity to make adjustments to it, and they'll have the opportunity to make adjustments to it when they see what works and what doesn't. But I think the overall benefit is going to be that the public will then vote for all of you guys because they have really, really nice parks facilities. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Council comments. Karen?
Chris?
Chris?
No comments from now.
Keith, how much time daily does the citywide graffiti removal people spend removing graffiti every day? I mean, just estimate, not exact.
Well, we have one individual that's dedicated to graffiti, so he pretty much spends his whole day. First, he follows up with the calls and the work orders that we have, and then he'll check problematic areas. And then once that's all established, then he'll assist the grounds division, anything that they may need, power wash and other items.
So he spends part of his day removing graffiti or checking up on problematic areas, and then when he's not doing that, he goes and helps the ground staff?
Yeah, I would probably say at least half his day is dedicated to graffiti, if not more.
Okay. If we do this, will it help us with our, more of a focus on rodent control and parks that we're really having a problem with?
I believe so. We actually did look into other ways of responding to the rodent control, especially at Ayala Park.
It's bad.
Yeah. We've tried to mitigate using anything that's harmful, that's restricted. We've tried to do other trapping, and with the help of our contractor, we're taking quite a bit out of the ground almost every day. So it is working. It's just, it's such a large area.
Well, we let it get so out of control, unfortunately. So, okay. I just know, I want you to know, it sounds like you're on top of it. Okay. Is this going to be enough help to accomplish what they're asking for? Is there more budget requests coming from our discussions on our one-on-ones and staffing for right now?
Let me just think for a minute on the positions. I don't think that any are dedicated to this, because right now we're pulling from Public Works, and like they said, they want to watch and see how it works. There are those few positions, because like how it's in Public Works, and correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, street supervisor covers everything, right?
That's correct.
So they cover all the areas, so there needs to be another supervisor. So even if it were to stay in Public Works, we would probably be asking for the other supervisor, because the span of control for that one person is too great right now. And if you think about what we do, we have one street supervisor who has everything. Streets, water, asphalt, storm drain. Am I right on that? On those four, one person. And if you go back to the slide, you can see how many people that one person is responsible for
25,
supervising.
wasn't it? 25?
Even though they have the leads, right, but when you look under there, because what they do now in Public Works is they have a group of people who do all four of those things. And they move them around as needed because they don't have enough in streets, they don't have enough in wastewater, they don't have enough in grounds. So they take the number of people they have and they're moving them around. So taking the number that's dedicated to grounds right now, and again, they're not just grounds, they move around, and bringing them over, now Public Works can see what they truly need and CSPR can see what they truly need. So to answer your question, we have put together 5 and 10-year plans on our growth, and there is a need across every single department for positions.
But Linda, like you're already saying, we're robbing from Peter to pay Paul on each side of the fence, and this doesn't even include their personal time off or like training or if they're off, if they go off on, FMLA because they have kids. I mean, it doesn't account for any of that. I think, that's just me personally. And I'm looking at the crew and the workload, and and trust me, I believe in us running lean and efficiently. But when you look at it, I think if you add in, like I said, personal vacation, holiday, time that they're flexing or working different hours because of special events, something's got to give on all this. So I just encourage you to sit down with Keith and your team and make sure that, perhaps the way we do that is, we add a couple of part-time people to help with that, in anticipation of that. But I think it's going to be a challenge. So when we talked about it, even a couple of years ago, when Councilmember Pocock was on this council. So.
Yep. And the grounds is 7 days a week.
Absolutely. So with more responsibility to come. We just talked about acquiring Euclid Avenue and different things that are coming our way. So the last thing I'd like to add is just for our staff is if you like this transfer, that's great. If you don't like it, don't get too used to it. One thing I'm quite certain of is these shifts have occurred since I've been an employee with the city of Chino. It's gone into Public Works, it's gone into Community Services, it's gone back to Public Works, it's gone into Community Services. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, don't get too used to it because chances are it could find its way back into another department in another 5 or 10 years. And then I just also would like for Keith and Hajan to work with you, Linda, about, we've really talked about housing these disciplines across the street from the Public Works service yard, not the city yards, the Public Works service yard, and getting underway with like their home across from there and putting the right disciplines on one side of the street by the fire department and the other on the other side and reconstructing that. I think that needs to be part of this bigger comprehensive plan. So, yeah, and then that's fine. And then my last comment is, Keith, this is a big part of Measure V for us, right? Right-sizing employees, telling people, just like Mr. Barr said, that our parks and our streets and everything is going to look better. So the call to order with our employees is, should the council decide to implement this, and I'm sure it's probably going to be very positively received, is, what I would call the reconciliation. I kind of cringed a little bit, and you said it was going to take us like 2 years just to come up with the deferred maintenance plan. That's hard for me, to get my mind around. I'm hoping that we can get our mind around that deferred maintenance sooner than that. As soon as we get the right people hired and start working on that deferred maintenance. To Mr. Barr's point, that fence at Ayala Park, which we talk about that being one of our nicest and largest and most heavily used parks. Not only is it, clean is one thing, but it's broken in areas, and it's been broken in areas for years, right? So just stuff like that, we've got to start, I would like to see the funding that the taxpayers told us, what we told them we were going to do with it, to start really making a notable difference throughout the city in all those areas, including our parks. So that concludes my comments. Thank you, Kurt.
Great, thank you very much. Hajan, did you want to speak to that item?
Yes, good evening, Council. Yes, regarding the Public Works Services Yard, we have considered doing an RFP for a feasibility study for a Public Works and Engineering Administration building across the street from existing yard behind the fire station. and expanding our service fleet service bay to double. Like we have right now about 3.5. We want to make it into about 7 bays. And we want to do that utilizing our existing yard by demoing the metal shed building and reorganizing the interior of our existing service yard. That way we could maximize the space that we have and we could continue to do the operation without interruption. So we are in the process of doing an RFP. We are hoping to put it out in January sometime.
That's really exciting, Hajian. I mean, very exciting for those employees, plus the
Yeah.
conversion that's going to have to naturally occur with what we just talked about tonight from gas to electric vehicles, just planning for that future. So hopefully our employees are excited about that. And when we put that RFP out and the consultant comes to help us study our needs, that our employees will get excited about providing the feedback into, what that's going to look like for the future for them. So that's great news.
Yes.
'Cause, before we weren't even talking about it. So the mere fact that we're actually going to come up with a plan and determine the cost to construct it, because it's something we have to do.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I wish that, I appreciate the fact that it's right across the street. That'll make it a lot easier. But it would be nice if we were all on one piece of property someplace. I know that's very difficult. We would have to find that and secure it. But I guess in the meantime, that's better than nothing at this point. But it's nice that we will possibly be able to secure another piece of property to be able to expand our service yards.
Yeah, we own that other parcel already, so it makes it much easier than securing a brand-new site big enough
Right.
to do the administrative building and the operations. My proposal will actually able to keep our operations going while we build a new administration building without any interruption. So that's one of the advantage.
And I know those buildings are extremely old down there, and I'm not sure what year those were built originally, but you have old metal buildings that are just freezing cold out there for our employees in the middle of the winter. It's just.
And
it's
summer
not-
is super
it's not
hot.
good. And summer it's super hot. I've been in there as well, so thank you very much.
Yes.
And I just, Jeff and Keith, I'm looking at our purpose to improve city park services through the consolidation of programming and operational staff under one departmental umbrella, focusing on park maintenance, oversight, and usage. Will that make us more efficient?
100%. Community services and public works works a lot together, especially with their events. So it's a lot of communication back and forth. So with it being under one umbrella, it'll be streamlined. It'll be a lot easier to get things done and efficient.
Would it allow our employees to do more things then during their workday rather than what they have going on now?
Yes.
Would it also allow our folks to be able to go and handle the Christmas lights that we're paying additional money for now? Or is that included into your proposal?
That's included in the contract that's listed.
Okay, and then really the costs are going to be the additional employees as well as the equipment then, right, Jeff, that you were speaking about?
Yeah, and so there's something else too. So there's an overlap of responsibilities between facility staff and ground staff currently. Like, so lighting, for instance, facility staff handles some lighting, interior and exterior. Ground staff handles some of the walkway lights. Street staff handles parking lot lights. We're trying to kind of draw lines and consolidate so that it makes sense within city properties and locations. Who's responsible for what, so we're not walking into a site and like, well, what department's responsible for maintaining this piece of it? So it's not just the programming versus the maintenance side, it's the maintenance side as well, because we do overlap frequently with grounds as far as who's responsible for maintaining what. So we're looking at, when we're coordinating projects and everything like that, it will all be housed under one department now. So it's no longer, hey, make sure we reach out to Public Works to, obviously we still will, because there will still be some overlap, but it'll be more consistent because there is one department that is basically gonna have control and be running basically all of city sites is what we're looking at. We're already maintaining all city facilities, including parks. The restrooms are maintained by facility staff, the buildings. The grounds landscape is maintained by ground staff. Now, the way I'm looking at it is ground staff or parks maintenance staff is going to oversee park maintenance, including the restrooms, and that will help take some of the responsibility off of facility staff and keep them in the facilities that are, City Hall and things like that. Because if you look at, there's 5 staff that are responsible for that entire list. We're more than doubling my division with the addition of grounds that's responsible for the same number of locations.
Gotcha.
Kurt, I think about this like when you were working as a detective and you're working on a case, we all remember how frustrating it was to have to drop everything and go work patrol, right? And completely drop what it is you're doing and go over and do that because of the demand. So hopefully it sounds like it's going to reduce the shift of that for our employees so they can stay focused on the task at hand and not have to keep switching gears and leaving work behind.
Right.
And to be honest, we don't have a crystal ball. These are just assumptions, and we're trying to ballpark things because we don't want to establish something and not be able to live up to expectations. So we just tried to come up with parameters to be more realistic because we know that we're not going to know everything and have everything figured out from the beginning. It may be sooner. It may not be. We're just trying to be as realistic as possible because we realize how impactful this decision is and the fact that, we don't want to see this, it didn't work out, so now it's got to get transferred back to Public Works. We really want to try to make this work, so we're trying to be as respectful as kind of everything that comes into this as possible.
Great. Thank you for that. And Keith, you had mentioned our graffiti abatement employee, that the first part of their day is spent obviously removing graffiti throughout the entire city. And then if there's any time left over, that individual will go and assist other departments with pressure washing. Is that right?
Correct.
So is that going to change? Are we going to be able to get another employee to assist with our regular everyday pressure washing throughout the city, in the parks, wherever we need it, to allow the graffiti abatement employee just to solely focus on that? Obviously, he does now because that's a priority. But I want to make sure that pressure washing is going on throughout the city as needed, just not for a portion of the day whenever the graffiti abatement employee is available.
Well, when I mentioned pressure washers, because they have a truck that has a pressure washer on it, that's what helps remove the graffiti, either sandblasting or pressure washing. So he takes care of all the graffiti throughout the city, but he also has someone on the weekend when he's not here. So we have it 7 days a week. Now, in the request, in the new org chart, there is a part-time staff that will be dedicated to graffiti as well. And then we have 2 trucks currently, so 1 truck will go with the transition and 1 will stay with graffiti. So we'll have 2 trucks operating at all times. 1 will be kind of dedicated to pressure washing if they decide to deem it necessary in the parks, and then the other one will be graffiti and anywhere outside in the right-of-way.
Okay.
We probably do a substantial amount of pressure washing right now. If you think about all of our event work, I mean, I know our staff goes out and pressure washes. Like the biggest pressure wash they're getting ready to perform is for the holiday parade, right now. So between event work at our parks, this was one of the discussions I had with Linda about the pressure washing, if that would be valuable to increase that staff. I actually didn't realize we have 2 trucks. That's great news. Even to just go around to parts of the city that we own in the public right-of-way after heavy rain or whatever, and move that debris and help take care of that, whether it's in areas where we know with, like I said, debris or mud or ADA ramping or just weeds that have a tendency to pop up in medians. I don't know if that's something they can do, but I during one of my conversations with Linda, one of my one-on-ones, we talked about, hey, that's a valuable component that helps keep our city looking nice in a lot of areas. And it's not that much money for us to pay somebody to do it. So just something to look at when you guys are noodling things that those guys can do for the expansion and what I would call just keeping our city looking nice, especially after wind events or rain or different things. So just my comments.
Okay. Any other council comments at this point? Any more staff comments? Anybody like to address us? Fred, do you have anything about it?
Just to clarify the feedback, I'm hearing that the council wants to assure that this plan of added staff is sufficient to meet the needs so that council's goal of adequately, performing maintenance on all your facilities is met. So before the council's asked to formally create positions and approve salary schedules of these new positions, I'm understanding that's the feedback you'd like staff to analyze.
I believe it is.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, without any more comments, the next regular meeting of the City Council will be held next Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Closed session no earlier than 4 o'clock if necessary in these council chambers. This meeting is now adjourned.